Welcome to Airline TV. Today we remember the tragic story of El Al Flight 1862, a devastating event that shook the Netherlands on October 4, 1992. This tragic crash involved a cargo plane that collided into an Amsterdam apartment complex, resulting in the loss of 43 lives and leaving an entire nation in mourning. Join us as we delve into the details of the deadliest aviation disaster in Dutch history. On October 4, 1992, El Al Flight 1862 was flying from John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York, bound for Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel. The aircraft was a Boeing 747-258F, registered as 4XAXG, with a total of 45,746 flight hours and 10,107 flight cycles, powered by 4 Pratt & Whitney engines. During the flight from New York, the crew encountered several technical issues. The first problem was fluctuations in the autopilot speed regulation, which affected the aircraft's automated systems. The second issue was a problem with one of the radios, which impacted communications. Lastly, the crew noticed fluctuations in the voltage of the electrical generator on engine number 3. El Al Flight 1862 landed at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport at 1440 for a scheduled stopover. The stopover was planned for cargo loading and a crew change. The plane was refueled, and the technical issues related to the autopilot, radio, and voltage fluctuations in engine number 3 were repaired during the stopover. The joining flight crew was composed of highly experienced professionals. Captain Yitzhak Fuchs, age 59, had over 25,000 flight hours, including 9,500 on the Boeing 747. He had been with El Al for 28 years and had previously served as a fighter pilot in the Israeli Air Force. First Officer Arnon Ohad, age 32, had logged 4,288 flight hours, with 612 hours on the Boeing 747. He had been with El Al for 10 years. Flight engineer Gedalia Sofer, aged 61, had accumulated over 26,000 flight hours, with 15,000 hours on the Boeing 747. Sofer had an extensive 37-year career with El Al. In addition to the crew, there was one passenger on board, 23-year-old Annette Solomon, an El Al employee based in Amsterdam. She was traveling to Tel Aviv to marry another El Al employee. El Al Flight 1862 was originally scheduled to depart at 17:30, but the flight was delayed. The aircraft finally took off at 18:20, just 50 minutes behind schedule. At 18:22, the aircraft departed from runway 01L, heading north. Once airborne, the aircraft made a right turn. At 18:27, while climbing through 6,400 feet above the Groeneveen Lake, there was a sudden bang. Engine number 3, located on the right wing nearest to the fuselage, got separated from the wing. The detached engine number 3 shot forward, damaging the wing slats. Engine number 3 then fell back and struck engine number 4, also on the right wing. The impact tore engine number 4 from the wing. Both engines fell away from the aircraft, ripping out a 10-meter section of the wing's leading edge. The bang was followed by falling debris, a trail of smoke, and a flash of fire on the right wing. The loud noise attracted the attention of pleasure boaters on the Bijlmermeer Lake. The boaters notified the Coast Guard about the two objects they had seen falling from the sky. One boater, a police officer, initially thought the falling objects were parachutists. As the objects fell closer, he realized they were plane engines. The first officer made a mayday call to air traffic control. During the call, the first officer indicated their intention to return to Schiphol Airport. At 18:28, the first officer reported El Al 1862 lost number 3 and number 4 engines, number 3 and number 4 engines. Neither ATC nor the flight crew fully grasped the severity of the situation at that point of time. The flight crew was aware of the loss of power from the engines. However, the crew did not know both engines had broken away from the right wing. The crew was also unaware that the wing had sustained severe damage. This was because the engines on the wings are not at all visible from the cockpit. On the night of the crash, runway 06 was the landing runway, in use at Schiphol. The crew requested runway 27 for an emergency landing. Runway 27 is Schiphol's longest runway. The crew's request meant landing with a 21-knot, quartering tailwind. The aircraft circled back to the airport, but was still too high and close to land. The plane had to continue circling over Amsterdam to reduce altitude for a final approach. During the second circle, the wing flaps were extended, the inboard trailing edge flaps extended, powered by the number 1 hydraulic system. The outboard trailing edge flaps did not extend due to the failure of the number 4 hydraulic system when engine number 4 broke away. The partial flap condition resulted in a higher pitch attitude than normal as the aircraft slowed down. The leading edge slats on the left wing extended, but those on the right wing did not due to extensive damage from the engine separation. This caused a differential configuration between the wings, disrupting airflow over the right wing. The left wing generated more lift than the right wing. The increased lift on the left side led to a greater tendency for the aircraft to roll further to the right. The right outboard aileron was inoperative, contributing to the rolling tendency. Thrust from the left engine was increased in order to reduce the aircraft's very high sink rate. As the aircraft slowed down, the effectiveness of the remaining controls to counteract the right roll got diminished. The crew lost almost all ability to prevent the aircraft from rolling to the right. The roll reached 90 degrees just before impact with the apartments. At 18:35:25, the first officer radioed to ATC, "Going down, 1862, going down, copied, going down." In the background, the captain was heard instructing the first officer in Hebrew to raise the flaps and lower the landing gear. At 18:35:42, the aircraft nosedived from the sky. The aircraft crashed into 2 high-rise apartment complexes in the Bijlmermeer neighbourhood of Amsterdam. The impact occurred at the corner of a building where the Groeneveen complex met, the Klein-Kruitberg complex. The aircraft exploded in a fireball, causing the building to partially collapse inward. The explosion destroyed dozens of apartments within the complex. The cockpit came to rest between the building and the viaduct of Amsterdam Metro Line 53. The tail of the aircraft broke off and was blown back by the force of the explosion. During the final moments of the flight, ATC made several desperate attempts to contact the aircraft. The Schiphol arrival controllers worked from a closed building at Schiphol East, not from the control tower. At 18:35:45, the control tower reported to the arrival controllers, "It is over." At that moment, a large smoke plume emanating from the crash scene became visible from the control tower. The aircraft had disappeared from arrival control radar. Arrival controllers reported that the aircraft had last been located 1.5 kilometers west of Visp. Emergency personnel were sent immediately to the crash site. At the time of the crash, 2 police officers were in Bijlmermeer checking on a burglary report. The police officers witnessed the aircraft plummet and immediately sounded an alarm. Nearby hospitals were advised to prepare for hundreds of casualties. The apartment complex was partly inhabited by immigrants from Suriname and Aruba, former Dutch colonies. The death toll was difficult to estimate in the hours following the crash. The crash of El Al Flight 1862 was due to structural failures in the Boeing 747's engine and pylon design. Fatigue cracks in the fuse pins led to the inboard engine detaching. The detachment of the engines caused severe damage to the right wing and the loss of hydraulic power. These issues left the crew with limited control of the aircraft. Flaws in design, certification, and inspection systems made a safe landing impossible. If you like such videos, please support us by subscribing to this channel. Kindly share this video with your like-minded friends. Your likes and comments are always welcome. Thank you.